a playlist original.
Hello, listeners. Welcome back to another episode of Back to the Blockbuster with your hosts, Gaius and Jackson. We got a jam-packed news episode today, hot off the heels of CinemaCon, which was last week, and Gaius was covering that. So a lot of the information coming at you guys today are updates from CinemaCon, and there are lots, a lot of trailers as well that are excited to dive into those. A lot of updates on some movies coming out this year and next year. Even some news about how the Oscars are going to be changing in the next couple of years, which I know a lot of people are going to be excited about that. There's been some topics, some debate over some categories that are neglected by the show. So maybe by the time this episode is over, that we can put some of those conversations to rest. Basically, just a lot of great stuff coming out over last week, Gaius. And I know that you're probably familiar with a lot of these stories since you covered them. So really interested to get your take on them as well. I just wanted to start off too by mentioning I know that the second season of Severance, the hit Apple TV Plus show, just wrapped up maybe a couple weeks ago now. But anyway, I have enough friends that are watching it and telling me to get on this show. So shout out to Tyler and Chris for that. That I took their advice while I had some time off work and I binged the first season of that show. And I got to say, it is incredible. One of the greater shows I think running right now. I haven't started season 2 yet. I know that you've heard of the hype, but have you caught it yet, or are you planning on watching it? Or
I haven't watched it yet. I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends that do. Another movement that I'm not a part of that I regret not being a part of because everyone talks about it now. It's still early,
which is why I decided to jump on the bandwagon before it got too out of control. And Ben Stiller is working. He's like the show. I don't know if he's like the creator, but he does a lot of the directing. I do think that he is like the showrunner. And he did confirm he's working on a season 3. So he only got 20 episodes to catch up on. And I got to say, the first 10 went by pretty quick. Very thought-provoking sci-fi.
He said the gap won't be too big between 2 and 3. I guess the gap between season 1 and 2 was pretty
3 years.
Big, 3 years. And he said it won't be that long. So I guess the good thing about it, there being that much of a gap is that it gives you time to like watch season 1 and then check up and catch up on season 2. And Apple TV has a lot of good shows, and I think a lot of them do kind of break through on social media. But I feel like this one has broken through the most.
I think so too.
Where people talk about it a lot. Like I remember people talking about the morning show, but not as much as this. Like I mean, like
that was that.
Because the morning show has like Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, and it's been nominated for like Emmys and Golden Globes and stuff. Like the Apple TV Plus has a lot of like shows that get like prestige recognition from like during the award season and all that. But I think Severance of all their shows, I guess Ted Lasso is another one that gets talked about.
I didn't realize that was that is a really popular show as well. I haven't seen clips and that's in bits, but not.
I've never watched that either, and that's getting another season 2. That even though they said they were going to do like 3 and done,
I thought they were done. Nice.
But Severance is one that gets talked about a lot. Because I have to use like X and all that to like grab stories to pitch sometimes, and sometimes you can't rely on like the trades to like have anything for you to pitch. And each week there was like people were just talking about each episode, and it was like kind of like water cooler TV, I think. Which is surprising in some respects, because as you pointed out, you found something about like even though Apple has like I would say probably some of the best material streaming rise compared to all the other streamers. I
would agree.
Losing a lot of money.
$1 billion annually, as per the information, which is I take it some sort of news outlet that compiled some data on Apple TV Plus's expenses, and it is they're hemorrhaging money. But I guess being the most the wealthiest company on any stock market is something that you can afford to lose some money on a streaming service side project. But it is alarming numbers. But I completely agree with you. They are consistently putting out great content. I think that they have a great approach to their streaming original movies, and the fact that they allow them some time at the theaters instead of staying right on the platform. Like we've seen that with Napoleon and Killers of the Flower Moon, among others. They just scooped up a Best Picture win in 2021, I think it was, with Coda. So you know what, I think, correct me if I'm wrong or if you think otherwise, but I feel like this is probably just going to be early losses, that if they continue this trajectory of putting out great content and allowing it to be viewed in the cinema and then on the streaming platform that they will eventually start going into the green a little bit and stop losing as much money. I feel like this is early losses, but that is still insane to be losing over $1 billion annually.
It's hard to say like it's like chump change for them, right? Because it's like
I guess
the bucket. It's like dropping the bucket for Apple, because I forgot what the one thing said. Like their revenue last year was like $300 and something billion. So like they can afford to lose. So they can afford to lose $1 billion. But I think we said offline that eventually any loss is going to be like it's going to be, eventually becomes like, they're going to be like, hey, like we can't just keep working at a loss. So we have to figure out how to turn a profit. But I guess like what makes it better than most streaming services is that they care about the theatrical footprint a lot when it comes to movies. So they don't just release things exclusively to their streaming platform. I know they did that with Wolves, that Brad Pitt, George Clooney movie, and that was a pivot last minute. It was like, it wasn't going to get released in theaters. I don't know what happened. They also announced sequels for that, and then dropped that almost like immediately after they announced it. So I think something might have just been going on with that particular movie. I think they're involved with like F1, so that's
yes,
and that's another expensive movie too. So
in the 9 figures.
I think they'll always have the respect of like filmmakers and some actors, because like they respect theatrical business on top of and they can afford to, right? Prime does it too. Like there's like they have the whole Amazon MGM Studios connection. So like with some of their releases, they're like, hey, release it in theaters, and then by the time we get it on Prime, we can like make money off ads that will sell like when people go to buy the movie. And like, so they're pretty good about it too. I mean, Netflix is really the one that's like, they have dug their heels in the sand, and they're like, we don't want to do it. Ted Sarandos, who is the CEO, he constantly says like they don't need to do that. He's also made comments about how like Barbie and Oppenheimer would have been just as big on Netflix as they were in theaters, and that's just not
from reality.
That's just not true.
Is he not is it him or is it David Zaslav that is open about how like the cinematic experience wasn't really part of their childhood and they don't value it? Which CEO was that?
I don't know which one it is.
I want to say it was Zaslav, but hearing you say
either one of them,
Netflix's makes me think it was Sarandos, but I could be wrong. But
it's funny too, because we're talking about these CEOs, and like we'll talk about it later when we talk about Minecraft's box office. But before that movie hit last weekend, Zaslav, the big rumor that came out was that because they had so many misfires recently with Mickey 17 and Alto Nights, like a lot of people didn't even know that came out. They were all kind of really expensive movies that bombed. Is that Zaslav wanted to double down? Like we only want to greenlight things that are based on like familiar IP, so like sequels, reboots. You want to double down on that, and I guess with Minecraft, that does go along with the whole like familiar IP thing.
Very popular.
But he was going. The rumor was that he was going to. I forget the two people's names, but he was going to. Was talking about replacing the two people that were greenlighting those movies, and those two people also greenlit Minecraft, so they have a win on their hands. So I think that's good. So I think that rumor is probably shut down for now, because Warner Brothers has a hit on their hands. They're probably going to have a hit
next long week overdue one.
Yeah, they're probably going to have a hit next week with Sinners, because they're releasing that too. It's a pretty low cost, and right now reviews are really good. It's a $90 million movie. I think that it will make that up pretty easily if it's as good as people say it is. But yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, if Apple can lose that much money on a very expensive side project, then I guess go ahead. I mean, at least they're I think the biggest problem is their TV shows seem recognizable to people. Someone asked me last week what was the last thing that Miles Teller was in, and I was like, oh, he was in that Apple TV movie The Gorge, and they were like, what? And then when I pulled up the movie, they were like, oh, Anya Taylor-Joy's in this too. I was like, yeah, and they're like, never heard of it.
I remember the marketing was actually pretty good for that movie for an Apple project, but
yeah, so
hard to find if they don't have the subscription. I guess they don't have a lot of subscribers, clearly, if they're losing money at this rate. But that's something that I think they're not as competitive with Netflix and Prime, which is
and even IBLT. I mean, I saw a preview for a show called I think it's called Your Friends and Neighbors, with John Hamm and Amanda Peet and Olivia Munn. I was like, oh, that looks interesting, and I was like, I wonder what it's on. And then the trailer ended on, or the TV spot ended, and it had the Apple logo. And I was like, I'm gonna forget about that, because like they're not. I just happened to be home to see that TV spot,
Right.
And I think it's already out right now. So I was like, oh, I would have never known that if I hadn't been home to like catch that trailer. And you know, and I looked it up online. It has like an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, so good reviews. Another show that they have that has good reviews, but like I would have never guessed it because
I think they're playing the long game. I feel like
a
Apple's
very,
like,
very long game.
they keep making as good quality productions like as they're doing and make the creative decisions that they're making, that I think they'll dig themselves out of this hole a little bit and maybe win over some people. Because like I think Netflix, you know, they put out a lot of garbage and then a little bit of good stuff, and it's just kind of like the foremost streaming service that everyone just, it would be kind of more of a inconvenience to get rid of it. But if, you know, when it comes down to competition, I feel like it would be one that I would consider ditching Netflix. Like going, I do every once in a while when I find I'm not using my Netflix, I'll like cancel.
Oh yeah, you go back and you get back and forth, right? You guys, you have like
I do.
love-hate relationship.
Prime is like the only one that I keep regularly because it's with my comes with my Prime subscription and I use that all the time. But
right,
for me, I'm like one of those people, you got to earn my subscription. And right now, I'm watching Severance through my like whatever bundle they have with Prime. But I would definitely consider subscribing to Apple Plus if they had more content like this that I was interested in seeing. But just on the note, just before we move on, like about Severance, I am truly surprised at how popular the show is, because it is pretty niche. It is not like it is like heady sci-fi dystopian sort of content and not what I expected it to be for how popular it is. And it gives like very A24 vibes, if that helps you kind of contextualize what the vibes you're going to get out of it. But anyway, it's a superb show and it's got a wicked cast.
Adam Scott,
Patricia
everyone's all surprised that he's 52 years old. I've actually saw that.
Oh my god!
They're like he's 52 with like all these like question mark exclamation points. I was like,
he's looking good.
No, like there's some pictures of him where I'm like, oh yeah, he looks a lot younger. And I feel like I've seen him in so many things over the years that like he's one of those people that like whenever I discovered him, that's where he stopped aging, I guess.
Right.
And like he doesn't look 52 years old. But yeah, I heard that about the show too, that it's very like you have to be into a certain type of show to really like it. But like I know a lot of people that watch it that really wouldn't be into that, and they are enjoying it and they love the characters, love the writing. So I gotta get better at the TV thing because I have to like cover movies so much. And I don't really cover TV a lot. And I've
been watching
hurts,
more
like
TV than movies lately. Like between Game of Thrones, which I'm rewatching, and then Severance, I'm tied up in the TV, and my movie watching is plummeting right now. But anyway, it's great. And if you do get around to it, but you got some other things you gotta knock off your TV list too.
I know I gotta do Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones. Like my buddy was like, dude, we should rewatch Bates Motel. I was like, I can't even think about that. Like, well, I mean, I love Bates Motel.
These are must watches, I'm telling you.
I know. Yeah. I mean, and I love Bates Motel. I was like, I can't think about throwing it into the rotation. And I can't even like go back and watch like shows that like, you know, like I love Buffy, right? That's an easy rewatch.
Yes.
Right? I've seen it so many times. They're like, so many people are like, please don't go watch that. Watch something new. I was like, I know. Even if you do like one episode a night, like just start it. Like start something.
Yeah, that's like 100%. Like that's my normal watching pace. Yeah.
They're like, you don't have to like finish it at like, you know, in a week. And I was like, that's true. Like, I think that's how I think about. I think my brain has changed so much to how we binge things now compared to how I used to watch things like on network TV and even cable back in the day where you're watching something like, you know, every week where you had to wait a week to see what was going to happen next. And now
I miss those
I'm definitely in a binge kind of state of mind, even though some services still like release shows like either like weekly or they'll release like 3 and then like and then release the next one.
Invincible on Prime just did. That's how I watched season 3 of that, season 3 of that show, which is another great show.
What I'll say is I think they've spoiled us, and me specifically, like, I know I want to watch it now. It's all there now because like, man, I mean, I think I brought this up before. Like, you can imagine watching a show like Lost live when it was on network TV and having to wait week after week for a new episode, and then like also growing more and more frustrated with that show week after week.
That was my experience with The Walking Dead back when that cable television was still king, and that was a show that I really had to wait week by week for each episode. And it's funny though because it also coincided with Netflix around the same time. Like you were able to like kind of rewatch the seasons on Netflix as the new seasons were still coming out. So it was a weird medium there. But I relate. I remember what it was like. Although I wasn't really around for Lost. My parents were fans of Lost, though.
Yeah, it was good until it wasn't until you realize
that's one
that,
that's on my bucket list to watch.
One of the best,
sure.
one of the best first season shows ever, though.
Yeah,
like
change
Pilot
TV
is amazing.
for sure. Yeah,
like same thing with like Heroes. That Heroes had a great first season when it started. Like those were shows that really got kneecapped by that writer's strike. Like during that time, like it kind of sucks. It ruined like a lot of serialized TV because Lost made serialized TV popular. Like it was like, oh, we have to watch this week after week. It's not like a monster of the week or a procedural show. Like you really have to pay attention. And that kind of TV like viewing was good when like the stories were really good, right? Because you were intrigued enough to come back week after week. I have to know what's going on. Like, but I just hope when people do continue to make serialized TV, like because I know we still get it now. Just respect your audience. Like, don't make it up as you go. Please have a plan for what you're going to do. Like, I respect any show. Like, I know I brought up Bates Motel, but Bates Motel had a 5-season plan, and they knew that, and they were done. And like, and I respect a show that knows, like, hey, this is where we're going to start, and this is where we're going to end. I can just tell with Lost, like, it was midway through season 3. I was like, they're making this shit up as they go, and like, I feel like disrespected as a viewer because I'm investing my time into like. What began as a really intriguing concept and story, and then just got. But when you're in like season 3, you have to finish at that point. You can't just like, tap out. Like now you're
exactly.
But make no doubt, I was hate watching it. Like I wasn't enjoying like most of what I was watching. But yeah, I mean, I do like what the stage that we're in TV because like I don't know if you know, but like back even when shows like Lost and 24 and Prison Break and all those shows were doing well, TV was still considered lower tier compared to movies.
Oh yeah.
And like, but then you had like even with 24, you had actors like Kiefer Sutherland doing 24, and then like and eventually TV gained a certain amount of respect for like, well, this actor's doing a TV show, then like it can't be that bad. And now I feel like they're on the even like playing field now. I mean, there's some TV shows. I
completely agree.
There are some TV shows that are working with like the same like script quality, direction quality, even production sometimes quality, everything is on par with movies. So like I love that they're, if anything, that they're neck and neck now, and it's no longer like we used to joke about watching the Golden Globes, like all the TV people would be sat like far in the back, and so whenever they won something, it would take them like forever to get to the stage to like get their award. But like now it's like. All like now you got Nicole Kidman doing like a lot of TV, and like I think actors like the whole idea of like having a limited series because like they can do
limited series are great.
They can do 10 episodes and then still do movies, so like they can do both. And speaking of limited series, I don't know if you watch White Lotus. That is something I do watch, and that is something that you should get into if you don't watch it yet. White Lotus is
I hear a lot about it, but I don't know anything about it. But it's not a limited series, is it?
It started as one. That was the original idea.
Okay.
But each season is a different, different.
It's like an anthology.
It's like an anthology, yeah. So and Mike White is like writing some of the most interesting stories and characters, and like I keep thinking I'm gonna like fall off of it, and I'm like finished season 3, and I was like I can't wait to see what he does with like a season 4, and I just love that it's all different. All the characters are different. They are complex, really complex characters.
Is there something that like binds them all together? Is it like a resort or a hotel?
It's like a resort. They go to different like locations to shoot it,
okay,
and all that. But like the resort is like what holds it together. And then the first 2 seasons, Jennifer Coolidge's character was in the first 2 seasons, and that's what held those first 2 seasons together. But they had like different like characters coming in and out. Like Sydney Sweeney was on season 1 while she was doing Euphoria as well. And there's so many good actors on it, and like so that the stories are like really rich. It gets wild. There was some wild stuff this season that like had my mouth like to the floor.
It's been in the back of my mind because I see a lot of posts about it, and luckily like nothing's really been spoiled. And
that's good. So you can be surprised.
I can say the first thing about it, other than it's like about a resort and hijinks and stuff. But yeah, I know it, and I know a lot of popular actors have featured on the show, but I didn't realize it was an anthology. I knew Jennifer Coolidge was attached to it as well, but that's about all I know about it. But where can you find it? What is it streaming on?
So it'll be on Max. So it airs on HBO. Like, so that's how I was able to watch it more. Like, because I by the time I'm like home on Sundays, I'm already at home, so I would just watch it because it was on. So instead of like, it's not something, but it is there to binge if you want. It's on Max as well, but it airs on HBO, and then they put the new episodes back. It just had its season finale he's already thinking about season 4, and if
Cool.
if it stays as like creatively fresh as it is now, I do as many seasons as you want. Like it's so good. And I think that show came about because like the first season was like during COVID, and like they could only go to certain places. So like they were like, hey, I want to still work. So they were going to places that were more open and had less restrictions, and that's kind of how the first season came about. It was like, the creator of that show was like, I want to work. I want to get like some people I know together to work, and it started from there. And now it's become this big thing. Like the ratings for each season have gone up and up and up. So like it's good. It's worth it. And it's like not a big commitment either. Okay. But it's a lot. It is a lot. Like I think sometimes you'll watch it just like, whoa, like it's one of those kind of shows. But I don't think you mind that.
No, not at all. I'm always usually invested in what I'm watching.
But yeah, I know. Every time we talk about TV, sometimes like we're planning like a TV spinoff of the show. Like we're just catching up on what we've been watching, and like TV was a big part of it, but also that Apple stuff was interesting. Like to be in their position where like $1 billion is just like we could lose that. Like to be.
Can't think of many other companies that are in that position. Must be nice.
If it was Peacock, they would have folded. So like Peacock can't lose like and they have like the attachment of NBC. Like Peacock can't lose that much money a year. No. I don't think like Max can either, Paramount Plus can either, like none of these other
that would be enough to fold most streaming services, I would imagine.
So I guess that's that's kind of like what you get with that. I mean, and that's cool if they can afford to do it. If they're gonna still put out quality stuff and they're willing to like, all right, well, I don't want to like sacrifice the content we're getting because of potential loss. If they are okay with that, then I say more power to them. Let them do what they want to do.
Couldn't agree more. And it's not a position I think that a lot of streaming services would take, because usually, I know it's no secret that money makes the world go round, and you're not usually interested in losing money for the integrity of your project. Would usually take the backseat to financial. So it's refreshing to have a studio that doesn't seem to care about it, at least for now. But anyway, you're right.
Unless they jump like $2 billion, and they're like, "Whoa, guys, we can't lose any more money."
Exactly. I'll let you take over this first CinemaCon story, though. Talking about Sam Mendes' Beatles biopics. I think that should read, because are they not doing 4?
They're doing 4 separate ones. Have you heard much about, like, before you even heard about the cast? Did you hear much about like what he wanted to do and how he wanted to put this together? Because it's probably this will be the most ambitious biopic I think ever done at this point.
Pretty novel idea. All I could tell, I know that this has been in development for a couple of years now, and that he envisioned it as 4 individual movies, each centered on one of the 4 bandmates of the Beatles. And now we finally have casts for each member, so that's great. But that's all I really knew.
I think someone made a point that I don't know if any of these guys are British. I'm not sure.
Paul Mescal is Irish. Barry Keoghan is Irish, I think.
Irish. And then Paul Mescal or Harris Dickinson. Is he?
Yes, him. I wasn't sure.
He might be. Someone made a point, I think, that said that either some of them are. Okay. At least he's English. That's okay. But yeah, like they're doing these. I respect how Sam Mendes wants to do it, because he basically says like the Beatles, prolific rock band, and then of course some of the stuff that they did on their own, also prolific, right? Yep. And he felt like one movie about the Beatles would not be enough to fully tell their story. So
I agree.
He's giving each member of the band their own movie. So Ringo, Paul, John, and George are all going to get their own biopic. I mean, all these actors will be in each one, but like the focus will shift, but from movie to movie. I think it's so cool that he sold a studio on this, because like that's a really ambitious
project, a
really ambitious thing to do. And I think what he said at CinemaCon is that this will be the first movie bingeable experience, and I think they're all coming out in April 2028, so it's gonna be a while. And,
oh my god! Okay,
there was a big bone of contention whether or not they're all coming out the same weekend or being spread. Like from what I heard, they're dropping at once in April. And And I guess that will determine who is everyone's favorite Beatle, depending on which movie does the best. Or will that make you? I mean, I guess the idea, like, of calling it a visual experience, is that he's thinking that the audience will, once they watch one, they will want to see each, movie after that, to like not necessarily see how everything wraps up, but like, I mean, like, you would want a full experience, so you would want to see all four of them. I mean, I guess that's the idea he's working with. And the Beatles are so like an international, like they're known all over the world, so the movies could be very successful worldwide. There's a lot of potential there. So I give him so much credit for doing it this way.
I give him credit for the idea. Do you think that 4 movies in the span of like even a couple weekends might be a big ask on audiences?
Yeah,
because I worry about how they perform
movies are
if
expensive.
they're all released. Yeah, exactly. I like maybe over a half a year, but that in any case, this has not been done before. Not that I know of. So this is a pretty novel idea. But I like how ambitious it is. Like, that sounds great. I do worry if they were to drop them all in one weekend. I can't see that there's going to be at least a couple of those movies are going to suffer.
Yeah, and he said that he's not confirming which order they're going to come out in, so we don't know.
That's good.
Paul's first.
They probably don't know if it's in 3 years.
Also, it's it's so weird to get these movies announcements, because I was like, oh, cool, he announced the cast, and then he announced like the date it was coming out. I was like, well, that is a while. We have a long while to wait. But while we wait, the whole cast was announced. They were all at the Macon. George Harrison will be played by Joseph Quinn, who is everywhere now. Good on him. He's going to be in Warfare this weekend. He was in a Quiet Place Day 1. He's in Fantastic Four coming out. He's got a lot of stuff and I guess his biggest thing was Stranger Things, right? And then he just kind of took off.
Is that what he was in? I didn't see the season that he was in.
He was on that. Yeah, and then he just took off from there.
Did he play Eddie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he took off completely from there. Paul
right on.
Mescal
That's why
is playing Paul McCartney. Barry Keoghan is Ringo Starr, and Harris Dickinson is playing John Lennon. I will say that they all look the parts.
Agreed. Wicked casting.
I actually could see it, and they were rumored to be the picks for a very long time. Ridley Scott really wanted Paul Mescal for his next movie. I think Jacob Elordi is going to do it now, but Ridley Scott was the one that kind of gave this away a couple months ago. Before it got officially announced, he's like, well, I wanted Paul for this, but he's going to be all tied up with the Beatles movies. So they have been attached for a while.
What's his next movie?
Let me.
I thought I heard that he was that he greenlit another Alien movie.
I think. Let me see. Ridley Scott's next film. I'll look it up right now.
Because I had not heard that. I didn't realize he had anything in development. I did see that he was interested in continuing the Alien franchise, but I hadn't seen anything else. But
yeah, he really wanted Paul. Okay, it's called his next film is called Dog Stars. It's a post-apocalyptic movie based on Peter Heller's novel.
Okay.
And Jacob Elordi is taking over for Paul Mescal. Josh Brolin's also in it, Margaret Qualley and Guy Pearce.
Sweet, that one was under the radar. That's
he was going to do a Bee Gees biopic, but I think that got put aside for now.
Okay,
he really wanted to do that, but yeah. So Jacob Elordi did take Paul Mescal's spot, and it's a commitment for those actors. I mean, good on. I mean, I just respect the fact that they're doing it this way. I don't know if it's going to work entirely, but I'm
along for the ride. I'll put it that way. Yeah.
And I mean, when bands are that huge, that was my biggest issue with Bohemian Rhapsody, is that one, it was PG-13, and I don't think
that is exactly what came to mind when
I don't think
we started talking about this.
Especially Freddie Mercury's life was PG-13. And then also it felt very rushed and thrown together.
Yes.
I know with the Michael Jackson biopic, there's rumors that they're pushing it to next year, and they might want to split that into 2 movies, because there's a 4-hour cut of that movie right now.
Oh boy.
And Michael Jackson also is another example of you have like the Jackson 5, and then you have his stuff when he's like one of the biggest solo artists of all time, and then you have all the the bad stuff. So there's like a lot of story to cover. So I respect not trying to cram that into one movie. It works sometimes. I love Rocket Man. I think what worked about Rocket Man in that Elton John story was that it wasn't a traditional biopic. It was like a musical. So that was
a really unique take.
So it had a different hook. And there's been biopics that really work well, and then there's some that kind of feel like, oh, that artist or that group feels like it's bigger than a movie that's just at like an hour 45, 2 hours. Like there's so much of their life you have to like sidestep. So I respect it. I'm looking forward to it. I hope it turns out well. I'm guessing, if I had to guess, Paul and John's are probably going to do the best.
I agree. Like they're definitely the two biggest stars of that band.
Ringo is probably the worst, but we'll see.
But I couldn't be happier than who they cast as Ringo, because Barry Keoghan is the cast member I'm most excited for of that. I don't know what you call it, that quadruplet there. So I'm pretty pumped about him. And he would be probably because of the quartet. Yes, thank you. Quartet.
I like quadruplet though.
The quartet is definitely the word I was looking for. But he would be the one that I would be going to see first based on performer. Barry Keoghan, he'd be the I think
all good actors though.
100%.
Harris Dickinson was really good in Baby Girl. I mean, I really loved that movie. That was a real big surprise. And then Paul Mescal, I loved After Sun, and I thought he was decent enough in Gladiator 2, but I think he's not quite used to big movies yet. I think he performs better in smaller things, but still a good actor. They're all really good. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So, but we have a long time to wait. So April 2028.
Yes, we do.
We'll get 4.
3 years to the month. That's a long ways away, but be looking forward to updates there. I just hope it doesn't tie up the actors in that entire 3 years, that they're able to focus on some other work, because that is 4 fantastic younger talents that we want to see working up until then. But speaking of young talented actors, the only other bit of casting news that we have regards Robert Pattinson, and as if this movie could be any more hyped, he is being eyed for a potential role, and I know it was named. I can't remember what that name was, but for Denis Villeneuve's
villain role, I guess they said that it could be with villain role in the. I don't know much about the third or Dune Messiah, but a lot of people were speculating it could be for the spelling of it is Scytale. And that's the character they think he could play.
Okay.
Someone said if they this one girl posted on X, if that's the character that he's playing, they said I respect the director for she said for casting all my favorite white boys and making them freaks, because I guess because of who Austin Butler played in the second one. And also, I mean, he's been on a roll. I mean, I guess he's been on a roll for a while. If he lands in this, I mean, it's just all those people are so connected. It's so funny how the Dune cast is all connected through other projects too, though. It's not just that. I mean,
right.
And I guess what the big selling point is that director, when he put Dune together, assembled some of the best. I'm just talking on the younger actors for this right now, but of course, across the board, we have people like Josh Brolin and Oscar Isaac, those names, of course, are great. But the young talent that he assembled for that movie, it's right on the money of these are the future. This is the future of Hollywood, basically, and they're all connected in that way. And so if he ends up in that, I mean, this will be he's already finished a movie with Zendaya, A24 movie. He already wrapped that, called The Drama. He's done stuff with Tom Holland already. I don't know. Has he done anything with Timothée Chalamet? I'm trying to think off the top of my head, if they work together or not. But and then you throw in Florence Pugh and all that. I mean, I don't know. It's a good If it works out, they said they're eyeing him for a project. There hasn't been a formal reach out yet, but they really want him for this part.
Okay.
And I can't imagine. Now, here is the problem for people online and DC nerds. There's been a lot of speculation about when are they going to start filming the Batman Part 2. It's been a lot of. And
the fact they haven't yet is very alarming to me. It's been 3 years since the first one.
Yeah,
and already a while.
I keep hearing all these false. Oh yeah, we're going to start at this time. We're going to start at this time. I know Matt Reeves is very and great. He should move slowly to get it right. I mean, I wouldn't want him to rush it. But I guess it has been. You said 3 years. So
it came out March 2022.
Yeah. Crazy. I heard that he starts shooting it potentially the Batman Part 2 early 2026. So they're saying that Dune Messiah could start shooting this summer. So I mean, that can still work out if they start shooting Batman in early 2026. Dune Messiah is an ensemble piece, so he's not the only person that needs to be there. Right. He's not the lead, right? So he can still split up his time. I know he has other projects that he's like attached to, but he can still. I know like I think he just went out to go film the Odyssey, so he'll be back and forth on that as well. So I don't want anyone to be that nervous that they haven't made any definitive like this is when we're going to start filming Batman Part 2. Here's the story, who's in it, like all that. But there is some concern for people online, like they're like saying it mirrors the whole like Mahershala Ali Blade thing. I was like, no, that's worse. Like, that is way
I don't want to
worse.
see this go down that road. I think the Batman is too popular for them to let go of it. But I feel like, the longer they put off filming, the more likely we're going to reach some other delay or something else that can hold back filming, or, people might get attached to different projects and be unavailable for filming. It's just, I want to get this ball rolling. And the fact that a movie that successful and popular 3 years on we're not any closer to seeing it. I know that there's a lot of pre-production to be done and writing, but 3 years, that's forever in Hollywood. So
yeah. And especially at least Batman's a big enough property that like you can wait to I mean, it's not like a whole like let's strike while the iron is hot kind of thing. Like
I suppose,
Batman's gonna be popular no matter what. But it is crazy. Like until you said it, I didn't realize how much of a gap there was. Like 3 years is a long time. Usually, like with a property like that,
5.
Yeah, and how well it did. They usually would move a lot faster. But I know that DC was in flux, right? They got James Gunn and Peter Safran to be like the new CEOs of DC Studios. Like a lot changed in that time, and I don't think James Gunn is pushing Matt Reeves to rush anything either. So that's good. I mean, but I wouldn't be too worried. I mean, these like I think he would be involved in all these movies and like the way they're spaced out and they're ensemble pieces for the most part. Like he's only really the lead in Batman, right? So the other stuff, they can work out a schedule that can work out for him. And of course, he's being eyed for. He hasn't been like there hasn't been a formal deal yet. But I think it's one of those stories that the way it got put out there, there's probably big enough conversations with him and his people that could become a definite thing that he would be a part of it. And do you think it's a pretty good get for Dune if Robert Pattinson does get cast in it?
I mean, the movie at this point, it's already filled with such a great A-list ensemble. It's going to do great with or without him, but it's absolutely a cherry on top if you were going to snag Robert Pattinson in any production for it to be, if it's Dune 3 that he happens to get on, it's only going to make that movie be more successful, I think. Luckily, this movie, I think it's already got massive hype behind it, and I hope that you're right that it starts filming as early as the summer. I didn't realize that they were the production was that far ahead. That's fantastic news. So hopefully they're able to ink something with them soon. And
wait, if it films this summer, would it come out next year?
I would imagine.
So that means it would be competing. Would it compete with it would be competing with The Odyssey and Steven Spielberg's untitled sci-fi movie that also comes out next summer?
Well, yeah.
So you would have all these directors. I just want Denis to finally win his Oscar, but I don't know what's going to happen with Dune.
Oppenheimer and Dune Part 2 were originally just a few months from within each other when they were
they had their original
in 2023, and then Dune Part 2 got pushed back. So, but then again, there were 3 years in between Dune 1 and Dune 2. So if that's not to say that, I think if he kept a similar production, we could see it in 2027 if they film for the remainder of the year and use a year in post. Because I think they got filming on Dune Part 2 pretty quickly after Dune 1, and that was the 3-year gap. So
and with Dune Part 2, they really just needed to go ahead to see that Dune Part 1 did well enough for them. Like, all right, let's do this. And then as soon as they found out, they jumped into it.
Denis Villeneuve is a workhorse, though. He had his 2010s run is full of movies. He's pumped out 2 in 1 year before, and usually puts out a movie every couple of years. So it's not unheard of.
I guess it could come out. You would have like a lot of good movies in 2026 coming from really good directors. So
it's already stacked as it is.
That's exciting. That's exciting. All right. So like we have a lot of, I guess, general like movie announcement news, like stuff that's like in development, stuff that has new release dates, official titles as well. We'll give you the 2 Spider-Man things first. You liked Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
right?
Big fan of those movies. Across the Spider-Verse ended on a wicked cliffhanger. I'm really impressed by those 2. And luckily, or not luckily, but I think by the time this third one comes out, I'll be ripe for a rewatch of both, and that excites me because those are some of the more impressive animated movies of all time, I would say, and they're fantastic. So it's exciting that we finally have, because was this delayed a little bit? Well, I remember we talked
so
about
it ended on that wicked cliffhanger, and we were supposed to get Beyond the Spider-Verse in March 2024. And then I was like,
what happened there?
When Haley Steinfeld did the interview saying that she hadn't recorded yet for it, I was like, "Ooh, that's not good." I was like, she was like, "I haven't done anything for it." I was like,
I forgot about that. We covered that.
We're not gonna get the movie when it's supposed to, and then it got pulled from the calendar like indefinitely, and then that wasn't great. But now at CinemaCon, they announced officially that it will come out on June 4th, 2027. They said the issue with the 2024 day had a lot to do with the SAG strike and all that too. So the actors weren't available to do any recording. And then also they said because of how stylistic the animation is, that takes a while too. So that the acting and the animation has to be in sync schedule wise, and like it just wasn't. And they knew they weren't. And then they also want to get it right. And they said, to give perspective, they said that when Across Spider-Verse came out in June 2023, the print on the screen was literally wet, having been locked just days prior. So like it was a down to the wire, even getting that out when it was supposed to. So moral of the story is they want to get this movie right. They didn't want to rush it. So that's good.
Well, that's good.
And especially because the first one won an Oscar for Best Animated Feature. The second one got nominated for Best Animated Feature, and they've both grossed $1.08 billion worldwide. So, I mean, they want, that's the only good thing that Sony by itself has done with the Marvel Spider-Man characters. So I
it almost forgives that atrocious Spider-Verse, that series of movies that they had there, but not quite.
The whole like Craven and Morbius and
whatever the hell that was. That'll be a case study in the future. It already is, but
so take your time with that. That's perfectly fine. It is weird to hear about these with dates that they seem so far off. Like 2027 is a while away. But I'm willing to wait for it if it's good, because I love the cliffhanger of the Across Spider-Verse. I thought that was a really cool way to end that, and I was excited that we were going to get the other one so soon after, but that wasn't meant to be, of course. And then Spider-Man 4, which is the MCU Spider-Man with Tom Holland, has a official title now, and it is
what do they call this thing?
Spider-Man Brand New Day. So it's ditching the whole like home thing from the other one. So the other ones are called Spider-Man Homecoming, and then Spider-Man Far From Home, and then Spider-Man No Way Home. I think I got them all right.
Yeah.
So this signals a whole kind of new beginning for Spider-Man Peter Parker. I also heard that Spider-Man Brand New Day is also a comic book storyline in the Amazing Spider-Man that began in 2008. I don't know if they're like gonna like fully adapt it, but it involves Spider-Man's marriage to Mary Jane Watson, and it's been erased from like the timeline, so he has to adjust to a new history, basically. That would coincide with them erasing their MJ from his memory, because or not from his memory, from they erased him from their memory. So I don't know what they're gonna do. There's still speculation that like Jacob Batalon, who played Ned, his friend in the movie, and Zendaya are gonna have reduced roles in this. I just can't imagine someone that, especially her, because she is super popular, that they would reduce her role. I know Sadie Sink is cast. Don't know who she's playing yet, but I can't imagine them reducing Zendaya's role to like a supporting, like a small supporting part,
like
almost like how she was
cameo.
Yeah, almost how like she was in Homecoming, because I forget how small her part was in the first Spider-Man she was in, because she's not the main love interest. It's the other girl who was the Vulture's daughter, ends up being the Vulture's daughter in that movie. Like she was like the kind of quasi love interest in that. But I haven't heard anything official about Zendaya officially doing it. So it's been back and forth about
it. But she's also a much higher salary these days.
She's also she's also very booked and busy herself. So like who knows? But yeah, so yeah, they all have official titles, and also another movie that has an official title and another installment ahead of the third movie coming out is Now You See Me. I am so happy that they finally did this, because I don't know why they didn't do this earlier, but Now You See Me 3 is going to be called Now You See Me, Now You Don't. So thank you for finally like laying into that. Finally.
That was a missed opportunity originally. I'm not a really fan of the other two, but I agree that this was Yeah.
They're fun. Oh man,
I
I just kind of like
I
their
saw
brainless,
them
kind of fun,
both.
entertaining movie.
Yeah. I haven't seen them in a long, long time, and it's just one of those. I remember like the taste they
Good
left in my
cast
mouth. I
though.
had no desire to rewatch them, and so I feel that's all I really think about when I
But
see them. But yeah, no, the cast is definitely great, but it is more for me. Put it that
well,
way.
I guess they liked what Ruben Fleischer did with the third one because they already greenlit Now You See Me 4.
Yeah, so I heard that too.
So there's that. So they brought back Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson. I think Isla Fisher's gonna be back for this one. She wasn't in the second one, but she was in the first one. Dave Franco's back. The new cast is Dominic Sessa, Justice Smith, and Ariana Greenblatt, and Rosamund Pike is in the new one as well. So good cast again. And Ruben Fleischer directed the third one, and I guess they're happy with what he did with it. That movie comes out on November 14th. Yeah, I'm always surprised when they greenlight movies ahead of like another one coming out. But
Yeah,
these
a
movies
weird
have made
trend. Yeah,
these movies have made $687 million worldwide across two movies. So that's
across
why I
two.
really
Yeah,
wonder.
that's pretty. Yeah, why is it taking? The second one came out in what, like 2016? Like, what's
Yeah,
going
I
on here?
know. I don't know what the delay was with that. And I'm also surprised that Jesse Eisenberg, he doesn't strike. I mean, I know he did Batman versus Superman. He doesn't strike me as a franchise person, but I guess he is. I mean, I guess he did, like, depending on the role or the part, he can be. But he seems like he'd be anti like big movies and franchises.
Well, yeah,
But
in a career that's 20 years and strong, he's only been a part of, I guess you could call the Now You See Me a franchise at this point. I wouldn't have called it that within two movies, but that and how many of the DCEU movies was he in? Just the one, or was he in two?
oh, does he have like scenes in? I can't remember because I haven't watched it
I
in a
only
while. I
ever
can't remember if
remember
he
the
has.
Batman
I
v
can't remember if he
Superman.
has scenes in Justice League or in the Zack Snyder's Justice League, the director's cut that they
I
did. I
did
can't
I
remember.
didn't see it, so but I
He
mean
could.
that's a pretty low engagement in franchises for a career that long. So I wouldn't even consider him a franchise guy. I guess he's part of one now, but
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, he's
and
a great actor.
and I guess some of the most exciting, or no, exciting, surprising, how you everyone look at
Surprising.
it.
Knew this was coming,
um,
but don't know how they're gonna work it. But yeah, are you thinking John Wick 5
Yeah, that it's
officially
officially happening.
announced?
They
Lionsgate.
announced it at CinemaCon, and they said that the team said we would not return unless we had something truly phenomenal and fresh to say with these characters in this world. We can't wait for us to see where the journey takes us next. They said it's so important to get the story right and give John's story the proper next step. It's exciting to take the first step on that road. So I hope they come up with something really good. I mean, it seemed pretty final in John Wick Chapter 4.
It did, and I was
But we kind
happy
of
with how that
figured
movie
this was going to
did.
happen, right? Because like
Yeah, it
each,
was super
each
popular
movie
and famous.
each movie has made more money than the
Yeah,
next. So like, but we were also kind of like happy that like, hey, like it's cool like that for things to have like an ending and like a finality to it, and that's also good. There's nothing wrong with that.
but
Um,
Chad Stahelski's not coming back to direct, is he?
no, he is actually.
Oh,
He is
okay.
going to
Arena that
yeah,
he's not doing.
and Keanu Reeves is also So they're all the whole team.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think that's
I
why
like
they're
that.
willing to do it. And I hope they land on a really good idea. I mean, I don't. He died, right? I
It
mean,
was pretty clear that that is what happened, but
unless they throw in something like this movie takes place like right before 4. I don't know how they're gonna like a
maybe
little bit
yeah,
after 3. I
because
don't
I
know how
know
they're
they're
gonna do
doing
it.
that with Ballerina. I, by the way, love the
Yeah,
Ballerina trailer. That looks incredible. So maybe they mess with the timeline a little bit, and maybe you
yeah.
know, what would be cool because just to piggyback on that, Donnie Yen will be directing a John Wick spinoff about his character Kane from John Wick 4. Maybe we
Yeah.
see, maybe that spinoff has him and John Wick working together, and maybe John Wick 5 will be sort of maybe a
Oh,
prequel of
that could
sorts.
work.
Like that would be pretty cool.
And
I hope
Donnie
so
Yen
because I love
directing this
his
is
ending.
really Donnie Yen directing this is really cool because he is like a perfect like he directs like a lot of stuff. Like he directs like martial arts movies really well,
Yes,
and I know that that whole series because of just the background of how those films are made, like having a director that was also like that worked in stunts, like just that combination of like all that then to make the action like as authentic as it can. I'm excited for that. So I'm excited for what Donnie Yen. I know he really wanted to do it. He had brought it up some months ago that he'd been in talks for it. So I'm glad that they announced that he's going to officially direct it. And I mean, I'm cool with that character getting a spin-off because I thought that character was actually really cool in chapter
yeah.
4. Um, I want more of Halle Berry's character from Chapter 3. I know she did a lot of cool things in that. I mean, that sequence in John Wick Chapter 3 with the dog and all that was probably one of the best across that series. I don't know why we haven't brought her back yet. She wants to. She's talked about it. I guess there's still time. I guess that universe
100%. I think
always
really
expanding. So
anything is on the table for this franchise, and like you said, it's just had a great momentum financially. Every movie is built upon the last. I don't think that anything couldn't work for this series, and if it sounds like the creatives behind it are willing to go with what works, so yeah, here's hoping they can incorporate Halle Berry's character because she was a big part of John Wick 3. And I think Donnie Yen being behind the camera for the Kane movie is great because he just has a lot of, like you said, sentiments behind martial arts, and I think that translates well to the camera. And Chad Stahelski, I think this series, I think it can work without him, but I think he being on board as a creative and being tied to the series is almost like he's synonymous with it.
He's also overseeing all the John Wick stuff via Lionsgate. Like he's kind of like the liaison for it. So that's what his overall deal includes, kind of, spearheading that entire franchise. So as long as he's involved, I mean, I know that he came in and recommended, when he saw a cut of Ballerina, to kind of not just add more action scenes, but make the action scenes more John Wick-esque, I guess. And that was the, kind of keep the style in line. So I think it is cool when you have a kind of mastermind behind the whole franchise that knows what the look is and what the style is and what the overall vibe is. And they're able to kind of come in and not necessarily overstep, but be like, hey, this is kind of where this needs to go. So it's all kind of working along the same line. So I think it's good.
I think we've had a lot of series that didn't have that in maybe the 2010s in particular that got derailed because they didn't have one person overseeing them. I'm thinking Star Wars. Yeah. And a lot of Disney properties on that note. But yes, I think they're doing the right thing with John Wick. And other than I do think that there is of course, I think a certain element of risk there with jeopardizing a great ending for the character in the series with the fourth one, but I don't know. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic. The creatives in that series has not given me any reason to doubt, so I don't want to unjustly doubt what they have in mind. So I will just leave it there. But exciting news nonetheless. I'm definitely excited for the Kane one. As well.
And here's some news that dropped on April Fool's Day, so I thought it was fake.
I instantly wrote this off as fake.
Because it honestly sounds like a Mad Lib. It just sounds like someone just inserted it, but it's not fake. A follow-up to Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is in the works, so to speak, with David Fincher directing. Brad Pitt is returning as Cliff Booth, and it's going to be from a screenplay by Quentin Tarantino. The only thing I don't like is that it's being made for Netflix because David Fincher has an overall deal at Netflix.
Yes.
So this is going to be a streaming movie. That's my only thing about this. But here's how fast it's moving along. They say that it could go into production by late summer. And this came about because this was originally, when we heard about the movie Critic, which is supposed to be Quentin Tarantino's 10th and final movie. It had some of the DNA of that having the Cliff Booth story in it, right? So when he decided that he didn't want to do that, Brad Pitt was like, hey, I kind of liked what you did with that. And can we expand on that? And would you mind if I take it to someone else? And I guess Quentin Tarantino was like, it depends on who that someone else is. And he said David Fincher, and I guess Quentin Tarantino was down for that. Of course, Brad Pitt has a long-running working relationship with Fincher. They did Seven together, Fight Club, The Curious Case, Benjamin Button, World War Z, in some capacity. So they work together a lot.
Right.
It's such a wild idea that I didn't know what to think of it. I still don't really know what to think of it, and I am turned off by the Netflix of it all.
I'm very turned off on the Netflix part of it. I actually kind of overlooked that, seeing it here written on our little column. I'm in love with the idea of David Fincher tackling Tarantino property, and especially a character that we've already seen. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is one if it kind of flip flops, but generally I regard that as my favorite Tarantino. So and I love Brad Pitt, his performance. I mean, he won an Oscar for that role.
Oscar for it, yeah.
and Fincher, one of the best directors working, Tarantino, one of the best directors and writers. So like everything there makes sense. And it's just, I guess, something that was hard to see coming, but I
Yeah.
don't like that it's going to be on Netflix, and that just kind of makes me pause. But I also want Tarantino to write and direct something. Like, he needs to get his game going here.
Yeah, what I found interesting about this story though is I know Quentin Tarantino said at this point he's willing to take his time on like what his final movie will be as a director, but I guess the good news is that depending on the other director, whoever, like he's willing to write still. So like
Well, that's good.
he has something. Well, it could also because he already had this thing kind of written already.
Right.
But but I mean, I like the idea of like all three of these people working together in some capacity. It sounds so cool and it's so interesting but it sounded so out of the realm of possibility that it really did sound fake.
Yeah.
Like
it did come across as
I waited for like 5
real.
of the trades to like post it before I was like, oh, this is real. Okay, it's not just being like once the Hollywood Reporter picked it up and Deadline, I was like, oh, it's actually a real thing. And I mean, maybe they did it on purpose, dropping on April Fool's Day because that was just perfect. But I mean, David Fincher has been in that deal with Netflix, and I think he likes it. I thought David Fincher would be more of a proponent of the whole theatrical experience, but he seems comfortable in that deal with him. And like
that's a really great point. Actually, he is a cinephile's movie maker. So it is weird that he wouldn't, because the last 4 movies of his were Netflix. I actually just rewatched The Killer, which was on Netflix like not long ago, and was a great rewatch. But man, would I've ever liked to have seen that and to have owned that. I want to have this in my collection.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing I don't like about Netflix.
No physical media, and he said they have no intention of releasing his movies on physical media, so he knows this.
That's super frustrating as a.
But I mean, also, I mean, I guess it's a lucrative deal, so he must be happy with the money,
but
at least.
He's such an auteur that I would think that he wouldn't care about that, but obviously I don't know. It doesn't seem that way anymore. But yeah, he still has, I think, a 3 or 2 picture deal with Netflix that he inked after before The Killer. Yeah.
Oh, well, I want to be more excited for it, but it is an interesting idea, and I do like the idea of them working together. I just wish it was on the big screen. And this one we don't have to spend too much time on, but that whole Dwayne Johnson, Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh, by the way, Leonardo DiCaprio could appear in that follow-up to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. They don't know yet. If he did, it would probably be a small role, but they don't know. Depends on what he's working on next. I think they said Leonardo DiCaprio could be doing like an Evel Knievel movie at some point.
Yep.
And then of course he has
he
has this whole Martin Scorsese, Dwayne Johnson, Hawaiian Goodfellas meets I forgot what else they said that's supposed to be, but it landed at 20th Century Studios, which is basically Disney. So, but they're making it. But it's the 20th century part of it, so that's it's not a bad place for it to be. It's just an interesting, if there was a bit of a bidding war for it, but they won, and Dwayne Johnson made it official on his social media that he's happy to be making the movie with him, and he's excited to go on this journey with him. So I'm optimistic about it. So at least it has a home now, and now it feels real. Now it feels more real that like as a studio now that like
Normally I would be hesitant for like Disney to have a property like this, but there's no realm of possibility that I think Disney is going to like be bossing Martin Scorsese around and tell him he can't have a million F-bombs in his movies. So I don't feel like they're going to really step in as like a studio and take over. Right. So it doesn't really bother me in this case that it's going to be under the Disney umbrella, but you're right. It's exciting to see that the ball's rolling in that movie, and now we're just one step closer in the pre-production to the camera start rolling. So that's super exciting. And again, intrigued about the Dwayne Johnson and Martin Scorsese duo there. I'm interested to see how they work together. And this could be a very different step for Dwayne Johnson's career, one that I think he's due for, and I would welcome with open arms.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Friday? I don't know. I don't. For some reason, I imagine you haven't. But if you have,
if any of them, because I know there's a few of them, right? There's like next Friday and Friday after next 3. Yeah. The first one is like I'm gonna have to eventually see it. I'm surprised I haven't at this point, but no, I've not seen any of those.
I think it had an anniversary. God, this month or last month. It came out in '95. Okay. It's funny. The first one's really really good.
How did the sequels do?
Next Friday has its moments. The Friday after next is a Christmas movie. somehow.
Weird.
It's not that good, but they're officially making Last Friday. Ice Cube has been trying to get this made for a really long time. But New Line president and CEO Richard Brenner said in a new interview that they just struck a deal with Ice Cube to write the Fourth Friday movie, and he'll also be starring in it. And the big question is if he's going to get Chris Tucker to be in this, because Chris Tucker was the biggest selling point of the first one, and then Chris Tucker did Rush Hour, and then he got paid $20 million a piece to do 3 Rush Hour, or to do the sequels at least.
Okay.
And then he found God, so then he didn't want to do anything like Friday anymore. I don't know how he feels about it now, and I don't know if Ice Cube. I know he's talked about wanting to get Chris Tucker back. That would be a big, like, for fans of Friday. If they get Chris Tucker back, that will be a big get. I don't know if I'm interested in it without him. They essentially replaced him with Mike Epps in the second and third one, and Mike Epps is kind of funny in Next Friday, but he's no Chris Tucker. Like, Chris Tucker's energy, like, if you finally see Friday, Chris Tucker steals every single scene of it. Like, Ice Cube is like the straight man in that, and like, he's the one that kind of like has to, like, Chris Tucker's the zany one of the two, and hilarious. Like, it absolutely hilarious. So I'll be more excited if that happens.
If the duo is back. Yeah.
But,
not much for me to say on that one, just because I haven't seen it, but I know the first one is definitely iconic and definitely some great.
It's hilarious, man.
But,
like, definitely worth seeing. All right, this next one is frustrating if you're a Scream fan, because like, it's a toxic fucking fandom, and I just realized
clearly I never viewed the Scream fan a little bit, I guess, not quite to the lengths that this story is going to take us, but Christopher Landon, I'll let you take it away, but Jesus.
I guess I'll start in order of how this came out this week, because Jenna Ortega did an interview with a magazine called The Cut, and they asked her about Scream 7. And I don't know if you remember when she decided not to do it.
Yes, I remember well.
Melissa Barrera got fired, and then the next day she announced that she wasn't going to come back. And the excuse that was given for Jenna Ortega was like, "Oh, I have scheduling conflicts with like Wednesday season 2. Like, basically, I'm too busy. I can't do it." Right. And she said in this interview that like that was not the case. She basically said it had nothing to do with pay or scheduling. She said the Melissa stuff was happening and it was all kind of falling apart. And she basically said that if Scream 7 wasn't going to be with that team of directors and those people I fell in love with, then it didn't seem like the right move for me in my career at that time. So that gave everyone that is fully supporting Melissa Barrera, and like, I still think it was wrong that she was fired. But like, there are people who are going to extremes. They're like, like saying just awful things. If you're supporting Scream 7 and its iteration that's going forward with now, then you basically support child murder and a bunch of others. Like, it's bad. Right? It's really, really bad. So she said that, and then Christopher Landon's also promoting Jump this week, and they asked him about Scream 7, and he went into more detail about what happened. I guess. He said he didn't fire her, but I guess everyone online thought that he was the one that fired her. That was the Spyglass Media Group decision to fire her. But that
sounds right. Like, I wouldn't imagine it would have been Chris Landon.
Yeah, but because he's director, I guess everyone online thought that he was the one to blame. So they were basically sending messages his way saying that he supports child murder. He got death threats so bad that the FBI got involved. And they were not only threatening him, but they were threatening him and his partner and his entire family. And he said that that Spyglass, they asked him to stay. They wanted him to stay. And he said at that point, the whole experience was just so sour that he just didn't want to do it. Like, he just didn't understand like where all the abuse was coming from. And he had to look out for his family. And the fact that the FBI is getting involved because of what could proceed as legitimate death threats.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy. But then another interesting tidbit was he said in a Variety interview that came out yesterday that when he signed on, that the studio told him that Jenna Ortega already wasn't going to be there. So the timeline of events of like what is really murky and weird. I guess that's what everyone is kind of saying now is like, okay, did they tell him one thing? And then did she say this one thing in this recent interview? That's why she didn't come back. Well, it's all weird.
I was going to ask... I know Melissa Barrera was hired and fired, but was Jenna Ortega ever actually officially attached?
she wasn't signed on officially for a third one. So if they were going to come to her, they had to come to her with a new deal. And also, Melissa Barrera said that she wasn't officially signed on for a third movie, but the idea was they were going to come back. Like that was at least Melissa Barrera for sure. I think they saw that Jenna Ortega's star was rising, and they were like, "Can we get her? She's so busy."
Right.
But those two girls were not signed on officially for a third movie, and I think that was the assumption back when Melissa Barrera was fired. That's why a lot of people say,
okay, so this wasn't a traditional firing; it was a
right.
Okay,
almost like you were asked not to come back.
Right.
I guess like
interesting,
but the timeline of events is just weird. I mean, for him to say like when I signed on to the movie, like they told me that she wasn't even going to be a part of it. So I don't know if they assumed that she wasn't, if they reached out to her already, but then like she's saying that like she didn't want to come back because she said the Melissa stuff was happening. And then she kind of also said if it wasn't going to be that same team of directors. I wonder if she kind of just flippantly said the Melissa stuff was happening. And like the main reason was like it wasn't going to be the Radio Silence guys. I didn't want to do it without them. And whatever the case, people are holding on to the Melissa part of it that she said and wondering if she lied or like what is the deal with like the timeline of events. I guess
the Melissa drama was an easy sort of cause to throw her story at. Like, this is why, like, you know, it's easy to say you're supporting your friend and during all that controversy and stuff. So who knows? I don't really know what I believe about why she's not coming back. I don't think it's really that important. I think I'm interested to see how the movie handles their absence, though, for sure, because obviously it's still happening. And is it not slated for release later this year?
No, next year.
Next year,
February 27th. So they're apparently that their characters will still be canon because you know Mark Gooding's coming back, Jasmine Savoy Brown's coming back, the Meeks sibling duo. So like it's not like they're eliminating like 5 and 6 from the timeline. It still exists. So like I don't know how they're gonna address that they're not there. I do know that the fandom is really split in between people who like support like and they're like if you go online, man, it's like there's a pocket of the audience that was like, you know, you're just like white people were just mad because 2 Latinas were like leading the franchise and like they make it about race. And then the other part of the fandom is basically really awful to Latino people too, trying to make fun of them. And it's just like I've never understood this. I don't get how this is movies. Like it's not this is why I write about them and not real news, because like, you know, it shouldn't be like this at all. And the fact that like, you know, you have a director getting like legitimate death threats where they had to get the FBI involved is insane to me. But this fandom has proven time and time again that it's very toxic. And like they have ownership over these characters in these movies to the point where it's almost it's scary. It's not almost, it is scary for some of them. And they like live and die on like what they believe is the truth here. And you know, when Jenna Ortega, that interview came out earlier this week, they were like, see, I told you she was standing on her principles. And like and the thing is, I knew when she announced that she was leaving, I felt that it was a move of solidarity and they use scheduling as a convenient excuse for her not to come back. I really thought she was supporting her in some way, and that's her prerogative to do that. But now it just gave people this week and just be like, see, I told you so. Like she's a real one. And now they're like, you know, fuck Mason Gooding and fuck Jasmine Savoy Brown, who couldn't stand on their integrity and came back for money and blah blah blah. So it's like a whole mess. Like I don't understand like why can you be a fan like me and just be like, yo, they're all decent in their own way. I like what those 2 girls brought to the franchise while they're there. They're gone now. And that's how. And also, I mean, like it started with Nev Campbell. So like whatever. They were in 2 movies. They were like 2 movies. Nev Campbell has been in more. Actually, Nev Campbell's only missed 1. And if you want to get like real about it, Courtney Cox has been in all of them. So like so it's their franchise more than Melissa Barrera's and Jenna Ortega's. And honestly, both girls are fine. They have jobs lined up, especially Jenna Ortega. She is very busy and she'll be okay. And I honestly think that it had more to do with like her wanting to, if the creative team wasn't going to be there, she didn't want to come back. I kind of think she flippantly brought up the Melissa stuff and they kind of rode with that this week. But I thought it was interesting that, you know, when he signed on, they told him like, hey, she's not going to come back. Like they already knew. But I think everyone's getting kind of held up on the wording and like when did these things happen? And like, is someone lying. And like even now, even though the guy came out this week and said that he had threats against his family, I've seen posts being like, well, yeah, I get it, but you should have done more to protect your leading lady. Like he didn't say anything in her defense. Like he just got the movie. He probably didn't even prep it yet. Like I mean, like there's nothing he can say. Like I don't know. Like I don't know what they wanted from him. Like
it's a good point. It seems like there's a lot of demand on all the people attached to this movie.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And if I didn't love the franchise so much, I would probably not want to be around it at all and watch them, because it's hard to like look up stuff for Scream and like write about stories about Scream now, because it really is like a weird division over a horror movie. Like it's insane to me. I guess the one horror movie that doesn't have any division right now, and it has an official release date, mostly because it took Saw 11's release date, because that was supposed to come out.
Right.
I didn't realize that Saw 11 was supposed to come out. It was supposed to come out in September of this year, but
officially canned,
we never
right?
talked about. Yeah, it's canned, and that's because Lionsgate is they want to go their way, and the creators want to go their way. They can't agree on the story. There's actually not more story to this than that, other than they can't agree on what direction.
Creative differences is really how they are parting ways on that. That's okay, crazy.
Yep. So the Saw 11's release date was September 26th of this year, but now The Strangers Chapter 2 will take that spot. So we'll finally get to see what they'll do with that Strangers franchise when they're not just copying haphazardly the original Strangers movie, because I did not really love Strangers Chapter 1. It just felt like a dumb rehash of like a better movie.
I remember,
but maybe
you spoke about it. Maybe I missed it.
Yeah, maybe Chapter 2 would be better. But I mean, I guess the real story here, I mean, like, yeah, that's going to come out great. The original actually did make decent money, so that's why Chapter 2. I mean, and it's a planned trilogy anyway. But do you think they should just like be done with Saw in general? Like, hey, if you guys can't come up with anything, like like the last one was good, and I give them credit for like doing a good story, and it is the best reviewed of all of them, even the first one. And it made decent money, but again, we talk about all the time, like there's things can end, and that's fine.
It's good to go out on a high note. The series has been going on for 25 years now. Like it's going to end somewhere, but I am surprised at how quickly, I guess, it seems that they are giving up on moving that series forward. Like it's only been a few months and they can't come up with anything. Like I would expect maybe more like on hold indefinitely or something, but to just say it's not happening is pretty indicative of I think maybe something more. But I would agree. Like I don't know that we even needed like 7 or 8 Saws, let alone 11. So it's been a really popular series, and I guess it's you can do a lot with a little there, but it's got pretty convoluted. I'm not very well caught up with the series anymore. I have a big appreciation for the first one, and then the 2 careers it spawned for James Wan.
Yeah. I think you would have liked the last one.
Sure, I would have. Yeah, I think
it was pretty good.
Kind of fell through the cracks, but it also just feels like such a big lift of a series now for me at this point. Even though I know it comes where it falls in the timeline, but I say let this be, the end of the series. Like it would feel sort of now where like we were teased to get an 11th. It would kind of seem anticlimactic that this is how the series ends. But like its last entry did well, like you said, it is the second highest rated one since the first. So maybe take it on the chin. But
also Tobin Bell is like old, and he's getting older,
and he is kind of synonymous with the franchise, and it's it's gonna be hard to continue without him. Yeah. So I don't know. I think let's just kind of let
horror fans you get Strangers Chapter 2 instead. you get that on September 26th.
Maybe that'll take the mantle from Saw and then do what that series did. I think it would be great to have to usher in a new sort of franchise that could compete with what Saw did. Maybe easier said than done, but I don't know.
I don't know if it's the Strangers.
I don't think it's going to be the Strangers. I think that trilogy getting
Chapter 2 is so good.
Yeah, I don't know. Between that and the Exorcist trilogy, that's also been reworked. I don't know what's going on with old
Mike
IPs
Flanagan's
and
doing
getting
that, so that's fine.
I realize he kind of saved it, but I still don't
get
the logic behind doing these. But in any case,
well, Do you get the logic behind Minecraft and how much money it made last weekend?
So let's hear the numbers before we get into that, because I know that it's. I had a feeling it was going to be very successful because I know you and I have both discussed we've never played it. I do have friends that grew up playing it, and then I think still every once in a while will mess around
My
on it,
brother was
and it does
aware of
seem
it. I
pretty
didn't.
cool. Yeah,
Like
I would
I
get a
was
couple of references,
I
but I've
I
never
was
played a minute
in
of
the
Minecraft.
dark.
But
Me
it's that
either.
big.
And
Yeah,
completely in the dark. I found out like last week that it's the highest selling video game, I guess,
like would you have
of
known
all
what it
time.
was?
I mean, I'd
Even
seen I've seen
okay,
images and shit from it. Like I just didn't
okay,
like
yeah, yeah.
but I didn't know like the reach that this thing had
It seems to
at all.
be it reaches across demographics and even generations. Like it's obviously quite popular with kids, but I have people well into their 20s that I don't think there's really anything about it that is like about a target audience. Like it seems like it's kind of like an open world Lego is really what Minecraft is.
Yeah.
And that can
I
appeal
also
to
got
all
it
sorts of people.
confused. I also got it confused with Fortnite at one point
Oh,
because I don't
okay.
play because I don't play that either.
That's the next movie that we're getting based on a video
I
game. I can't believe that hasn't already happened,
which means I'm just like old and out of touch. I was like, Jesus. But I
but
mean,
no,
we had the box office was sleepy, and kids revived it over the weekend because it opened to $163 million
wow.
uh, over the weekend. It's the best 3-day opening for a video game movie. It topped the 146.4 million opening of the Super Mario Brothers movie in 2023. Globally, it opened to 313.2 million in just one weekend. Um, it probably by the end of its run, it could be close to $1 billion by the time it exits theaters, and that's just crazy to me. But again, this is something I'm not part of the demographic, and that's fine. I mean, it had $150 million budget, so it needed to make a lot of money. So it's
150? Jeez.
yeah, so it's gonna do that. Um, and it topped for Warner Brothers. It's their biggest. It topped Barbie. Barbie had $162 million opening. That was a big deal when Barbie opened. Uh, I we needed a hit, and I'm cool with that.
Well, a financial
I
hit because it's getting lambasted
oh yeah,
online.
and I also didn't know this, but Jared Hess directed this. He had directed Napoleon Dynamite, so that's
Oh,
yeah,
that's
such a
crazy.
such a different movie, but good for him. This was actually tracking at one point at 65 to $70 million to open, so it like went well beyond that, and I I'm happy for the industry. I guess
For
I'm not going to
sure.
see it
No.
at all. I have no desire to see it, but I do love that we needed the industry needed it, so I'm happy for that regard. And Warner Brothers really needed it, so there's that. Um, but there's also a lot of things kids are doing that we were talking about offline. Uh, and this whole chicken jockey scene in the movie, I guess. They said a moviegoer revealed the extent of the mess left behind after a screening of a Minecraft movie, and this was in Melbourne, Victoria, on the evening of Monday, April 7th. Since then, other theaters have shown their messes at their theaters. It shows debris scattered on the floor, consisting of popcorn and soda cups. And they are also throwing toilet paper into the air and cheering upon the appearance of Chicken Jockey, a baby zombie riding a chicken, which is well known and a rare event in the Minecraft video game.
Okay.
The outburst during the scene of a Minecraft movie swiftly went viral, but also sparked warnings in both the States and the United Kingdom that those participating in this social media trend will be ejected from the cinema or face legal action. We talked
Pretty
about
serious
offline.
stuff. Yeah.
It's dividing people who are like, let kids have their fun. I don't mind. If it was just hooting and hollering, I wouldn't mind that. If they were jumping up and down in their seats and clapping, I wouldn't
I
mind
mean,
that
that's
at
what
all.
kids
It's
do. It's nice to
it's
see them engage
throwing the
with the
fucking
movie,
food.
but yeah, making a mess out of the theater and parents should really be reeling their kids in and not. It's really their fault. Kids are going to do what kids do. I'm just surprised, I guess, that there was such a response to this movie like that
It's doing that.
emphatically. Yeah, that it's making international headlines and kids are freaking out this much. Like I know that there's popular kids movies and all, but it seems like it's been a
Yeah.
minute. So yeah, I had
Yep.
something. I'm actually just seeing I have the IMDb page open and I see the chicken jockey scene right now from the trailer, and it just looks so stupid to me.
In the wake of this, for the second weekend, they said some kids have been escorted out by cops, and then that some theaters are going to enact a no unaccompanied minors rule for their theater showing a Minecraft movie. That's ridiculous. I think that's silly. But the director of the movie supports it. He said it's been so bananas, it's been way too fun. People are sending me these really hilarious speeches that a lot of teenagers are giving right before the movie, and then showing me them getting crazy during the scene and throwing popcorn. I think it's great. Let kids be kids. Yeah, you can, but like, man, you're not cleaning that shit up. And
no, yeah, there's a limit.
These people are getting paid like minimum wage to like clean up. I mean, if you've seen the videos in the aftermath, it's the whole theater is a mess. There's popcorn everywhere, and theaters already gross by the time you
exactly right. It's already difficult to clean up one spilled bag of popcorn that's trickled down all the seats. Like a bunch of kids just letting loose with their popcorn would just be a nightmare. So yeah, and you also got to like set an example for your kids, and you're taking them to a public place. I know a movie theater like isn't probably the number one place you'd think of about a public place, but it is. You gotta demonstrate how to act like a normal person, and just to allow them to run wild and do this, I think, is setting a bad example. But on the other hand, like I can appreciate that they're excited for a movie, and it's great that it's bringing in a bunch of money. But there's a fine line, and that's pretty insane. But
yeah, I mean, I can just.
I think I blame parents more than I blame the kids, truthfully.
Yeah, I just love the whole like theaters enacting a no unaccompanied minors policy. That's
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Silly. I mean, I think the movie's PG. It's not even like PG-13, so it's ridiculous. But yeah, more power to that movie making money. The industry needed, and I think from now on, like the movies that are coming out, like are going to be decent sized hits. I think we just had a rough start of the year. But also,
it's usually the slower part of the year.
And there are also good original movies out that people didn't support. So like I hope they support Sinners this week or next week. That's an original movie. And people say they don't want like we're so tired of reboots and sequels, but then they don't go see original films. So you can't complain if you're not gonna support them. So do your best. Sad note, like I just want to touch on a little bit because he was pretty prolific actor, but Val Kilmer passed away on April Fool's Day. Another one that I thought was a really cruel.
That would be a nasty April Fool's Day joke.
I was like, that's not funny, but that ended up being true. 65 years old. His official cause of death was released today. He passed away from pneumonia, but he had been diagnosed with throat cancer in 2015. He subsequently underwent a tracheal procedure that damaged his vocal cords, leaving him with severe difficulty speaking. He also underwent chemotherapy and 2 tracheotomies because of that. He was in remission from the cancer, but they said it done a toll on his body at that point. TMZ said that he was practically bedridden for the last couple of years. And not the guy that we see in like Top Gun and Tombstone and Batman Forever.
Right.
I don't know. I actually don't. We never really talked about Val Kilmer. Are you familiar with a lot of his stuff? Or
yeah, well, definitely Top Gun. I've seen Tombstone, Heat. I loved him in Heat.
Yeah.
I've not seen him in the next one that I really want to watch. With him is The Doors, because his performance that always
really a lot of people said that
me. Like he did all the singing
for that, and he wasn't.
I did unfortunately see him in 2015's The Snowman, which I've tried to purge from my memory. That movie is god awful, but those would be the big ones that I've seen. But I've always really, really liked Val Kilmer, particularly in Heat. I think would be my favorite performance of his.
I didn't know
and he was an actor I admired a lot.
I didn't know until he died that the reload that he does in Heat, that they actually show that to.
Yeah,
I guess I had no idea until he passed away.
Marines,
I was
like, the
Marines. That. So they said that, and Michael Mann basically said like when they were making that all the actors got good at it because they went through formal like weapons training, but they said that Val Kilmer was on a whole nother level. I mean, I love Heat, and I love that he took like in that movie that would basically be like henchman number 1 in any other if it was any other actor,
right?
But he managed to like give that role like so much more than probably was on the page, and like kind of like silent but deadly. But I also like that he like kind of has like the softer moments with Ashley Judd's character. Like, you know, the two things that he seems to care about is the job and, you know, being like Robert De Niro's right hand man and her. And like those are the two things that he cares about. And he does like such a good job in that movie. And I just thought he was like the epitome of cool. Like he was different types of cool in different movies. And like he embodied that really well. And it's interesting because Batman Forever turns 30 in June, and we've covered all the Batman movies on the anniversary so far, and that would be one that would be interesting.
That would be one. I would be down.
It's such a you know turning point of the franchise, because you know it went from Tim Burton to like the more like colorful Joel Schumacher stuff. But I did a feature on Val Kilmer for that movie for the website, and you know it was an interesting point in the 90s when that came out, because Val Kilmer had less pressure taking on that role than Michael Keaton did, because Michael Keaton came from like comedies before he did Batman, and like they weren't sure that he can do it, even though he proved them wrong. Like Val Kilmer at least had Top Gun and Tombstone under his belt already, so they were like Batman felt safe with him. But he only got to do one, and a lot of that was, I mean, I don't know if you saw his documentary Val. It's really, really good. That
I've heard great things. It's on my list, but no, I've not checked it out yet.
He basically talked about how, like, you know, every kid dreams of, you know, being Batman, but then like you do it, and like as an actor, he was just limited into what he could do, like because of how the suit was made. He couldn't really like hear things, listen, you know, all the stuff that you need to be in, like you need to have in order to act. He was restricted by. And that led to some people thinking he was difficult. I know Joel Schumacher said that when he was alive, that he was difficult. But I also think Val Kilmer was passionate about the work. And I could see being on a movie like Batman Forever and you wanted to give it your all, and you're kind of limited by, you know, this thing you have to wear, and you can't really communicate the way you want to communicate. So I think a lot of it has a lot to do with miscommunication. And Jim Carrey said something really nice about him recently after he passed away. Like, he had nothing but nice things to say about working with him. Drew Barrymore is in Batman Forever briefly, and she said nice things about him on her talk show. Everyone's just had nice things to say, like about his work ethic and his commitment. I think that was like what I took away the most, is that he was 100% committed to every role that he played, and he had a really good run from like Top Gun through like the mid 90s. He had an incredible run of movies.
Yes, he did.
I know that I still don't remember a lot about Tombstone, but I remember him distinctly.
Yeah,
he steals that movie.
Yes, he does.
And a lot of people think he should have at least 2 Oscars, or at least 2 Oscar nominations. I don't know why he didn't get nominated for The Doors. I know it's kind of a divisive movie, but a lot of people loved him in it. But you know, as always, when people like him pass away, like his movies are trending now. Like I know whatever streaming services have them, they were like either number 1 or number 2. I know Tombstone was like number 1 on whatever service it's on. The 4K is sold out on Amazon. That probably has a lot to do with him. Batman Forever was number 2 on Max this week. So that's the good thing about it, when people will rediscover his work and are discovered for the first time. I hope when we cover Batman Forever, there is a Schumacher cut of that movie that is supposed to be darker and better. People have been trying to get it released forever. It trends every year around its anniversary. I think now more than ever, because apparently that version of the movie contains a more complete Val Kilmer performance. I hope people get to see it, because apparently it's not one of those things that's a myth. A lot of people who have worked on it have seen it. Kevin Smith says he's seen it. It exists. It's out there. They should release it. It'd be a good time to.
That would be awesome. Yeah, no better time
to bring it out. But yeah, it was sad. I mean, 65 is young. I mean, it's really, really young.
Yeah,
but man, he was cool. He was super, super cool.
I think you're right.
I think if I had to name, like, cool, he would probably be my favorite of his, though. Like I didn't think he was acting when I was watching that movie. The fact that movie came out of, I mean, with I guess it's not really an Oscar nominated movie, but it's so good. Like, I'm surprised that it got like 0 nominations, like nothing.
Yeah. It's a crime epic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kiss Bang Bang's actually been on my list with him for
I've actually never seen that. Yeah,
I've never seen it. That would be a great watch. And it looks like he's hilarious in it, but rest in peace. He was an actor I really loved, so definitely sad to hear that news.
All right, let's blow
with
through
that,
these trailers real
yeah,
quick.
that brings us to trailers. I can't believe the time we're making. It's been an hour and a half, but we've had so much news. And the first 40 minutes of our conversation wasn't even about anything that we had
about Apple
slated to
TV.
talk about. Which, yeah, but
Yeah.
yes, you're right. With that brings us to trailers, and I think we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that all premiered within the last couple weeks or so to get through. But I'll start off, I guess, with the first one that's listed here. That's the I can't remember Danny and Michael Philippou, the
Yep.
the directors of Talk to Me
Australian,
for 2023. Yes, exactly. I was gonna say Australia, but then I thought maybe they're New Zealanders, and I couldn't remember. But their second, their sophomore effort is another horror movie called Bring Her Back, and it had a really awesome teaser just a couple months ago that really just gave a really eerie look into the movie without really saying anything about what it was about. It's finally got like a feature length trailer, so which again I was grateful because I remember having reservations while watching it right before we recorded that it might be have a couple spoilers, and I'm really intrigued by this movie. And luckily, happy to report that it doesn't really give anything away, but some really unsettling imagery, and it looks
very
even
spooky
creepier than
imagery.
Talk to Me. Yeah.
The
What did you
whole
think of
like
it?
hand, the blood thing of the like, so like she's like spearing blood on the window. Like,
Yeah,
it looks
there's
good.
some
I'm glad that.
eye trauma in this movie that's gonna get to
Yeah, and
me.
I'm not, a fan of eye trauma, and yeah, I'm
A lot of
squeamish.
bloodshot eyes, bloody eyes looking around, and it's fucking freaking me out.
But it looks damn good. I can't, and it's been hard to find a synopsis of it. All I found is like a brother sitting there witnessed a terrifying ritual at the secluded home of their new foster mother. Maybe it's good I haven't found much more of what the movie is like about.
Yeah,
It's not
I
gonna be a
don't want to know
surprise.
much more.
But Sally Hawkins is in it. For those that don't remember who she is, she was in, I think she was nominated for 2 Academy Awards. Ish, I think she in The Shape of Water. Yep, yeah, she's in The Shape of Water. She was nominated for that,
That's
and
what I
she's also
recognize the name.
in Godzilla King of the Monsters. And she's also Oscar nominated for Blue Jasmine as well. So she is the lead in this, and I don't know. I just love the imagery. The poster, the new poster, which also kind of showcases the eye trauma, is creepy.
Yeah.
But it just looks good. I'm glad there's not much else to really say about the plot. It just like trailer looks amazing. I think they will be 2 for 2 based on the trailers that they released so far because I love Talk to Me. I actually haven't rewatched it since I saw it in theaters, though, oddly enough. I loved it. I never watched it again.
I did watch it twice. It was fairly soon after it came out in theaters, like just like maybe 2 or 3 months. Sooner than I needed to rewatch it, but it still really held up. It was great, but I guess I don't think I'll really need to rewatch it before Bring Her Back, but that comes out May 30th, so it's really not that far. It's just right around the corner, month and a half.
Yeah.
So
yes, and I think
be a
it's
good
gonna do
chance for you to rewatch Talk to Me
Yeah,
though.
Talk to Me for sure. And these next trailers, guys, are all sequels. I think all of them are.
Yeah, look at that.
But then they're all sequels. The first one being Karate Kid Legends. I wish I could. Okay, I love the first Karate Kid a lot. Like I love a good underworld story, and watching that as a kid growing up, like you wanted to be Daniel LaRusso. Even though I do love that Cobra Kai kind of like rode on that narrative that like maybe Daniel LaRusso was the bully, and it was the other way around. I love the idea that they kind of built Cobra Kai off that, and I actually did love Cobra Kai as a show. That it was really good, but as a film franchise, it hasn't been that great. I mean, like the Karate Kid Part 2 is fine. The
How
third
many
one
did
is
they
trash.
make?
They made 4.
Oh boy.
And then there was a remake, and then there's this.
Yes.
So
And so this is sort of a
and
interesting take because it does have a character from the remake in it, and Jackie Chan's
yeah,
character,
Jackie Chan.
right?
So they're
So
keeping that
what is going
canon.
on with
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
So Jackie Chan is in this. So I guess they're saying that is part of the same universe. I mean, I guess like the movie needs a Mr. Miyagi, right? And Pat Morita has been, he's been dead for a really long time. So like, I see the appeal of having Jackie Chan there as kind of like the mentor person, even though Daniel Russo is also in this, Ralph Macchio, so I guess he could have been the mentor person. But I don't really. I wish the trailer's not bad. Like I thought it was fine. I'm just not excited for it. Oh, you're on mute.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm just not excited for it. I think that's the issue I have.
Yeah, I thought the trailer was really well crafted, and I'm just not excited because I don't have any really connection to the IP.
IP.
I might have seen like the Jaden Smith one when I was young when it came out, and I think I saw the original when I was a kid as well.
Yeah.
But really, it was never a series I gravitated to. Didn't really have any friends that spoke highly of watched it. It was never anything that ever came up. So, and
You
I
have friends
did
that watch Cobra Kai?
No, I heard good things about it, like online and stuff, and it
Yeah.
looked intriguing. But again, like I just didn't really care about the IP, so it didn't really draw me to the show. But anyway, it'll probably, sneak off my radar. But looks like it was a well-crafted trailer.
Yeah, the trailer looks fine, and it looks like it'll be entertaining. Like I probably will see it and be like, oh, that was fine. I just like wasn't craving another one. It takes place 5 years after the conclusion of Cobra Kai. And Ben Wang, this is his first movie. He is our new Karate Kid. Joshua Jackson is also going to be in this, and Ming Na Wen. And it also comes out on May 30th, so same weekend as Bring Her Back. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to do. I mean, the remake made a lot of money. I mean, I think the IP itself is just so people are attached to it from like the 80s and all that. And I honestly think the popularity of Cobra Kai could translate to this and make this a really popular movie. It'll be something I know my brother will want to see it, and I'm sure I'll see it. I'm just not like overly like I'm not like, it's not on my list of like anticipated movies this summer, but it looks fun enough. And I think the trailer sold it. It sold it kind of like the same energy like the old ones. Like, it's that same kind of DNA of having like, the young kid, and like, it's always been like that, bullies and all that kind of stuff. So
it just looked like you're very conventional. So it didn't look like they were changing a whole lot about it other than
like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I guess,
so I just thought, whatever. Maybe it'll be good for a new generation of kids to find the movie and the story, and I don't know. Yeah, again, didn't really do much for me, but
all right. Next we have Megan 2.0. I liked the first one. The first one was entertaining. It's fun for a Blumhouse, movie released in January when it came out.
This trailer seemed like it was a whole different genre of movie. It seemed like
it looks like a comedy.
Yeah,
an action comedy. It looks like
yeah.
Well, the vibe I'm getting is it feels very like Terminator 2. Like, Megan was evil in the first Megan, and now you have this like bigger threat. So like Megan has to be good. Yeah. Points for not just making an obvious sequel where like it's the same like doll or whatever, wreaking havoc. So I guess I'll give it credit for that. And it also seems like his tongue is firmly in his cheek. So I also give it credit for that. Also like the use of some pop songs. There's some Boyz II Men in there. There's some Britney Spears. Oops, I did it again. That I heard too. That was fun.
It does look like it's having fun with itself. So I like the trailer. I didn't see Megan, but I would watch it in anticipation of this if I find the time, because this looks honestly like a great time.
Yeah. And I guess that if you're going to make a sequel to it, they couldn't just copy what they did before. So I do kind of like the whole play on like, it does feel like a play on Terminator 2 where, the machine that was once bad is now good. And
I think if it does that and it's self-aware about it, then all the power to it.
Yeah, and they're confident in it. They're releasing it on June 27th. Like the last one came out in January. It made a lot of money.
That's true.
I think the first one made 181 million worldwide on a $12 million budget. So, releasing the sequel during the summer shows confidence. So there is that. So June 27th for Megan 2.0.
That was 2022. Wow.
I know. I can't believe these movies are flying by like this. The next trailer we have is a very short teaser trailer for The Naked Gun. At first I thought this was a reboot, but I think it just might be a legacy sequel of some kind.
Yeah, looks like that way. I thought it was a legacy or a reboot as well, and I'm not really familiar with the original. I know Leslie Nielsen led it, and it looks like it's sticking with the same sort of humor. Liam Neeson, I think, is playing the son of Leslie Nielsen's character.
Yeah. So they are. There's some nice callbacks to the original movies. I like that he's like the son of Lee, and I also like how they went through each person's picture and they got to O.J. Simpson's picture, and the black cock kind of like just shook his head. I was like, no, I'm not going to comment on that. And that was kind of funny. I was like, once upon a time, O.J. Simpson was also an actor before the whole like stabby thing in the early 90s. But it looks fun, and I like the teaser trailer. It was like short and sweet, but it had like a good some good little jokes mixed in. So I thought it was cool. Pamela Anderson's also in this. Paul Walter Hauser, and Liam Neeson. It comes out on August 1st. I didn't know it was that soon, but
okay.
And Liam Neeson, I'm glad that he's doing something different, or at least making fun of his persona in this, because he's done so many variations of Taken that I can't keep up anymore.
And he said that he was not doing like action movies anymore, like 5 years ago, and he keeps putting out the most generic, straight to streaming action movies. And I'm glad to see him switching gears as well. He kind of tried his hand at comedies when he was in A Million Ways to Die in the West.
In the West, Seth MacFarlane movie, right?
Yeah, exactly. And a cameo in Ted 2. Like, he's funny when he tries to be. So I think this is a good step in the right direction for his career.
Yeah. So far so good. August 1st. The next few trailers, more sequels. Tron Ares. Visually looks great. I think it was a nice little teaser trailer. You said you had not seen any of them, right?
I have zero experience with the Tron IP.
Yeah, Tron Legacy is visually great, and it's also a pretty solid movie. They've been trying to make a sequel to it for a long time. It's funny because the gap between each one has been huge. Like, the first one came out in the 80s. Yeah, we got the next one like the 2010s basically, and then this one is coming out on October 10th of this year. They have been wanting to make one for a while, but it's a standalone sequel to Tron's Legacy, starring Jared Leto, Greta Lee, Evan Peters, Jodie Turner-Smith, Cameron Monaghan, Gillian Anderson, and Jeff Bridges is also going to be appearing again. He was in the original, and he had a role in the Tron Legacy. Visually, it looks good. I know my friend saw this trailer and was turned off, did not know Jared Leto was in it, and now it doesn't want to see it.
I was surprised to see Jared Leto was in this, because I think he's been pretty quiet since Morbius. I can't think of anything that he's done more recently than that. I think
so.
And
wow, that might be right.
Kind of an actor that has lost his star a little bit, I would say, in the last. I think there's a lot of bad publicity about him. He has a whole like cult. I don't know if you're familiar.
Whoa, no.
Yeah, he's got like a cult like fan base, and has like he's a pretty wacky dude. But I think a great actor when he tries to be. And
also not a decent musician too. His band's all right. I like some of their stuff.
Yeah, me too.
But it looks interesting. It's just a teaser trailer, but it looks like it has the same visual style of like Tron Legacy. I love that it's keeping that, and I'm intrigued by it. Comes out on October 10th. This last one, how do you feel about this trailer? I mean, we had a trailer before already for Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. I actually enjoyed that first trailer a lot. It made the stakes and everything feel like pretty epic. I think this one does too, but I thought the stakes felt more epic in that first trailer that they released, but this one has a lot of fun callbacks, it seems like, to the other movies. I thought that was pretty neat. I like the trailer. I just wonder if this is it. I mean, are they really marketing it as like, is this the final Mission Impossible? Or, I mean, I thought he said he wanted to make more.
Well, he
but
did,
he's also
but
he's 62, right?
Wants to end it, I think, or maybe it's Skydance. I can't really remember, but it's kind of contradictory approaches to the series right now between its star and the producers, but. I think it would be like a great opportunity to wrap it up, and because like the series itself is pretty flawless, and again, it's pretty much gotten. But I know there's some detractors of the last movie. I happen to really like Dead Reckoning Part 1, even though that'll have a weird ring to it now that this is it's no longer Dead Reckoning Part 2. If they choose to make any more after this, I think that we could get into seeing the fans maybe abandon the series, or people getting tired of it. So I think this would be the time to put a bow. But as much as I don't want that, like I kind of how we talked about Saw earlier, like, and even John Wick, like, you need to end eventually. Like, why not find the strong way to go out with a bang? So it's looking like this is going to be the last one, and I'm okay with that. Like, I like them, but I don't know how they've managed to make so many movies and to get better with each one. That's no small feat.
Yeah.
I agree. What did you think of Dead Reckoning Part 1? Like, did you like it? Are you excited for this one?
I liked it. I mean, I've liked all of them. I mean, I think 2 is the weakest, but like even that one has its moments. But yeah, again, the whole theme of like it seems like this news one is like it's okay to end stuff, and like I think it'd be fine if this is it. Go out on the high note. I heard like for what I heard, they said that some fans might be like emotionally upset because there might be some casualties that will make people pretty sad. So that sounds like something that's final if they're like going to be like getting rid of people all willy-nilly. It's one of those series I think that's gotten better. Like, I mean, not like each installment has gotten better than the last one per se, but they've all kind of been on this like high level since the third one, or I guess Ghost Protocol. That's the fourth one. So like I'm looking forward to what they do with it and looking to how they might wrap it up. It seems like he wants to do more, but I agree. I think the people are like director and like, hey, this should be it. And also I think he's 62.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that he can't do anything that he doesn't want to do.
No.
But maybe it's time to hang up his stunt guy hat, even though he might want to make another movie with a bunch of stunts because like the Academy is going to do, they're gonna add that. They're gonna add that category. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was a good place to throw.
I was just thinking that. We didn't cover that. But yeah, 2027, the Academy Awards will have a best stunt category, which is great.
Stunt design or something like that. And I know people are already joking online that he probably heard that. It was like, oh, we gotta make at least one more of these so I can qualify.
Well, if it's not this, I don't think he's gonna be stepping away from. I think he'll just find something else to do to lend his stunt performances to if it's just not maybe the Mission Impossible series. But he does have that movie with is it Doug Liman that he's doing in space?
Oh yeah, the one in space.
There's still that.
Yeah. So, and then that one with Alejandro, was it he's doing another one with
Alejandro Inarritu?
Yeah, that I don't know exactly what the plot is, but I know he signed on to do one with him. I believe it's with Warner Brothers, and some people think that it could be like his Oscar, movie. So, who knows? I was watching a clip of him in Magnolia, and I was like, he should have an Oscar for that. I don't know why he doesn't have one.
Yeah, like Born of the 4th of July is incredible as well.
Yeah, I just think he gave up on chasing an Oscar at this point and like doing action movies.
So this one with Alejandro Inarritu is expected October of next year, and it reads: the most powerful man in the world causes a disaster and embarks on a mission to prove that he is the savior of humanity. And it's like an action adventure comedy. It's got a wicked cast. He's got John Goodman, Jesse Plemons, Sophie Wilde, Riz Ahmed, like a really deep cast. Michael Stuhlbarg. Yeah, pretty sweet cast. But yeah, Tom Cruise.
That's pretty good.
Tom Cruise the lead, and that sounds really neat.
Well, nice.
Yeah. Well, he's got a really active career.
Well, Mission Impossible also will premiere at the 2025 Cannes Film Festival, so that either will make or break the movie. Because sometimes when they premiere at these film festivals, it's like I think it was Indiana Jones where it premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, the last one, and then it got really bad.
I don't know
really
why.
Bad early reviews.
Choice.
Yeah, this one might be a better one to do there, but and then it comes out on May 23rd, the same weekend as the live action Lilo and Stitch, and Lilo is gonna beat Tom Cruise's ass, unfortunately, but they'll both do well. But
for sure. Hopefully they don't eat each other.
Like I said, Tom Cruise has found himself in this position before when he was in Minority Report. Came out the same weekend as the animated Lilo and Stitch, so he knows all too well losing to a little blue furry alien. So there we go.
That's right.
Dude, we wrapped, even though there was a lot to cover, we got right through that in a decent amount of time and all that news. That is all the news for us today. Very packed. We knew we had a packed one because of CinemaCon. So thank you for listening through all of this. And hey, industry, you can slow down on the news a little bit now that we're all caught up. That would be great. But a lot of fun stuff to cover. Hopefully you guys heard some things that you guys are interested in following, movies that you're interested that are in development, trailers that for movies that you're excited for. Makes it all the more fun for us to talk about. So thank you for listening to episode 234, I believe, right?
35.
I think 234.
Maybe okay.
Yeah, right. Because
I know we had it mapped out at the beginning. Yeah. Oh, yes, you're right.
We got a lot of episodes. We have a couple we haven't released yet, guys. So that's fine. Back to the Blockbuster. Thank you for listening to our news episode. if you like what you hear, you can follow us wherever you get your podcasts. We have an Instagram page, we have a Facebook page, we have a TikTok. It's all under the handle Back to the Blockbuster. You can also listen to us at Good Pods, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you'd like to listen. But also the Playlist Studio app is another way for you to listen to us, because Playlist is very good to us as our network, and you can get that app in the iOS store or the Google Play Store to support them. You can also follow and subscribe to our YouTube page, where we'll be adding some content to soon. Sometime in the near future, we're going to start live streaming the show. That's something we've talked about. That's one change that's going to happen relatively soon, but we still need to talk about the logistics of that. So you'll be able to listen and also see us more often. Jackson, as always, great talking news with you. We have a very polarizing movie to talk about soon.
Yes.
Excited. And we haven't talked about it. How you feel about that at all? You haven't asked me how I feel about it watching it again. But yeah, that movie is Crash, guys. So that will be an interesting discussion. I already have a friend that says that he's going to listen to that episode very, very closely, because he hates it. But I also have friends that love it. So I think it's going to be a controversial episode in general, because it's a very
I love those episodes for us, because I love when we can kind of share what we like and dislike. Yeah, it just makes for a great conversation. So I knew early on that this would make for an interesting discussion.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. And we will see you soon, guys.
Awesome. Thanks for listening, guys.